So, Warner Brothers have slated a ton of movies for 2020 to go straight to their streaming service, HBO Max. Now, this is a bit of a weird one because cinemas, because of our current situation with lockdown and the coof, have done really poorly this year. Really, really poorly. And anyone who's had a film of any sorts has had to delay it. Look at Black Widow, and then you've had ones that have tried to go to streaming and not quite succeeded. Mulan's a pretty good example of that. And HBO Max, at the moment, for 2021, have no TV shows or content that will drive anyone to their streaming service, which causes a big, big problem for them. So what they've decided to do is push some of their films on there. So we've got Godzilla versus King Kong, if I can get my mouth working correctly. The Suicide Squad Matrix 4 was apparently ahead of schedule, and Wonder Woman 1984, which is coming out Christmas Day. Now, this is great for people in the States, but for people in the UK and people in other places who can't get hold of HBO Max without, so we say, sailing the high seas or using a VPN, this isn't that good. Have they killed it off? For example, one of the bits of content that they were expecting three Game of Thrones spin-offs. And we're getting one. And I don't even think that's going to happen. Because they just haven't announced that they've cancelled the damn thing. And we all know how Game of Thrones went, guys, don't we? Oh, Dan and Dave are never working in Hollywood ever again for that.
Well, they're working at Netflix, but nothing's come of it yet. They were working on a Star Wars movie, and nothing came of that.
It's one of the how can you put it? It's like, are they working in the mail room? Is the question. Are they doing the cleaning there?
They're in the complaints department.
But it seems weird that Warner Brothers are going to push all their films. They are doing what they refer to as day-and-day release. Now, day-and-day release means it shows on HBO Max and it shows in the cinema. Okay, so we get Wonder Woman 1984 as an example, will be on HBO Max. Don't know if it's coming to Amazon or any kind of video on demand functions. And as I said, it'll be released in the cinema. So it's gonna be weird with this, because what they're doing is they want to push people towards using HBO Max, but they've got nothing to pull them in. And there's a good chance that we'll still be in lockdown until March of next year in one form or another, be it the tier system that we've got in the UK or the horrendous thing that they've got in California and New York and whatnot, which is causing people not to be able to gather in groups. And we've got all of these other bloody things here and there. So they're pushing for that. I think it's going to kill cinema off to an extent, but I don't think it'll, I don't think it'll, how can I put it? It will kill it off completely. I think that because my cinema near me opened 2018. I don't want it dying yet because it's quite a nice little cinema. I think you've been there, Keith?
Yep.
Yeah, yep. And I think you've been there too, Nige.
Yeah, it's a decent cinema.
It's a lovely little cinema. Get nice coffee, got alcohol. You can take it, things in there and whatnot. I'm hoping it's not the death of cinema, but it looks like Warner Brothers are pushing this. I don't know if it's just going to be a one-time thing for 2021, just for their films, because they've got all these things that they've made. They're in the can, and they're sitting in like the work in progress stage, which means they're accruing interest on all their debts and stuff that they racked up, because they literally finance this off to people and say, hey, you want to invest in Wonder Woman 84? And they go, yeah, sure, I'll put in $100,000 and so forth and so on. And they pick up a big pot of cash, and then they have to pay the interest back on it, which is really exciting. Finance and film. I was trying to keep it interesting, and then I was just start thinking about bloody balance sheets and Excels. Go on, Keith. I can hear you want to say something.
Well, I mean, I can see from the studio's point of view why they're doing this, and realistically, people can't go to the cinema. I mean, the cinemas going, the cinemas have got to be careful here, because realistically, with the amount of cases that are being reported both in the UK at the moment on a daily basis and the States, and the fact that the vaccine is not going to be really rolled out until the summer, you've got to be realistic here. The movie studios have to put out content in order to carry on. So they're going to use the internet. I hope it's a temporary thing. I still prefer to go to the cinema and see, especially big budget movies. Movies. I was going to say Star Wars, but I mean, Rogue One. I'm not going to say any of the other Star Wars movies because that was a waste of my money. But Marvel movies and things like that. Even the bloody Mandalorian, I'd love to see that on the big screen. Even if it was a 30-minute thing, I'd go and see that on the big screen. But I can't see how they've got to put these movies out. The movies have got to recoup the cash, and everybody's got to get paid. So how else do they do it? It's unfortunate, but it's the only way they can do it. I feel very sad for the cinemas. I feel very sorry, but realistically, people can't go to the cinema. It's just not worth the risk. So the problem is it's going to up piracy because people are going to screen cap the films. There's going to be all that kind of thing. So it's a bit of a catch-22, but what can you do?
True. Yeah, you're right. It is a bit of a catch-22. And it is frustrating because this bug, which can't name because we'll get kicked off either Facebook or YouTube. Twitch is fine with it, which is ironic. Is ruin anything that involves a gathering. The only examples that you can get to where you watch cinema now that we had over the summer where we had like outdoor cinemas where we had like drive-ins and stuff. We don't technically have drive-ins like they used to in the States. But yeah, it's odd, and I can understand HBO Max, and I'll be honest with you, I probably would have made the same decision in the same position, but I would have done less coke whilst doing it.
But how is that going to work internationally? I mean, obviously Wonder Woman is going to have to be shown internationally. So how is that going to? Because obviously the UK doesn't have HBO Max, no, but I thought they do have an HBO kind of thing, don't they? Because we've got it here. It's not HBO Max. It's HBO something. There's an HBO thing, and you can subscribe to it, and you get the HBO shows. Not
as far as I know. I don't.
Isn't HBO Sky Atlantic in the thing? Will these be shown on some kind of Sky Atlantic?
I doubt they'll be shown on Sky Atlantic. I imagine they'll get them on VOD and in the cinema. So I imagine Amazon's probably got the rights to sell them worldwide via their system, maybe. And maybe even Sky might have the VOD rights to Wonder Woman, given the fact that you said that HBO has a dealing with Amazon for that.
Hang on, sorry, I've got to mention this in the comments. That's it. It's HBO Go. It's HBO. It's HBO Go here as well. We can subscribe to it. In fact, we've got it on our digital box as an extra subscription.
I don't think we've got HBO Go.
Okay, fair enough.
The only time I've seen HBO shows in the UK is on Sky Atlantic.
Yes, because I think Sky did a deal with HBO, and they show all of the sort of internationally appealing HBO shows like the aforementioned Game of Thrones and things like that. But I know over here it's badged as HBO Asia, but it is HBO Go.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one that it's going to be weird. We'll find out when it comes to us. I think it's going to be Amazon. I think the question is, it's going to be Amazon, whether it's going to be on Sky for us here in the UK, and it'll be on the cinemas, because the cinemas now in my area are open, but they've still got the COOF restrictions. We wanted to take my son to see Die Hard, but he's not old enough. It's like, well, I've got a Christmas film for your son, Die Hard. You need to go and watch Die Hard with us. And we looked, and it's like, it's not 12A or 13 or whatever. We go, bugger. So we couldn't take him to see that, which is really annoying. But it's one of those things. And yes, I may be trying to spoof it with a VPN to see what HBO Max is like when Wonder Woman comes out. Nigel, you got anything to say on this?
I can see why the studio's doing this. I'm missing out on massive revenues at the moment. All of them are, all the films. But I do understand why we go online to watch things. But I do enjoy going to the cinema as a one-off thing here and there for these big blockbuster movies. I don't tend to go to the cinema really for just anything. I don't have one of these multi-pass things. So, yeah, if it was a big budget movie, I'd tend to get a cinema, but it's expensive for me. So
I almost asked for a cinema pass for Christmas last year. I'm so glad I fucking didn't.
Well, I mean,
I did. Hang on a second. I did get a Disneyland Paris tickets for the entire year. Wow, that went down really well.
yeah. I mean, the Wonder Woman was scheduled to come out here at the cinema, and until this week, I would have gone. But unfortunately, without mentioning the elephant in the room, there's been some sneaky people sneaking over the border and have now got an outbreak everywhere. So yeah, that's knocked us going to the cinema on the head a bit, which is really sad because I quite enjoyed going to the cinema the other week, even though it was a Thai film and it was a bit insane, but it was worth it.
Okay, so it looks like all those Warner Brother films. Dune doesn't look like it's going to get a sequel, I imagine, because it won't make the money back. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see an evolution to big budget mini series on TVs, which will replace films. You'll see things like what's the thing? Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. We'll start getting things like that now, which is quite sad. Then you might get cuts and stuff that will go into the cinema, but it won't be the same. I'm worried that it's going to go down that route. I don't want to go down the route. I quite like going to the cinema. It's an experience and it's quite enjoyable.